Simon, hello.
Great, nice to see you.
Pleased to see you. All right. For anyone that doesn't know Simon, this is the third podcast we're doing. Simon Clarke is the, do you call you Reverend?
You call me Reverend, what? Call me Simon, so
Well, yeah. He's a Methodist minister from our local Methodist church. And I know Simon's going to be leaving us soon to go into another place which we'll talk about. So we want to try and grab him before that happened. And thanks for coming, Simon. It's lovely to see you. Could you explain, could you start telling us about your life and what, I know you're an Everton fan, so you must have come through the Liverpool gates at some stage.
Yeah.
And down to here, but just to sort of outline when you came here and
Outline sketch. I was born on the Wirral near Liverpool. Both my parents were from Liverpool. I candidated for the ministry, age of about 25.
is that early?
These days.
Earlier these days.
Wasn't then. Trained in Manchester for 3 years. My first posting was to Swindon,
Right.
for 5 years, and then I came to Cornwall. That's 25 years ago. Was in Camborne for 11 years, and then moved to
Oh, you can't say those things.
we live in Herrenporth, and that's 14 years ago. I'm still here.
And how have you found St Agnes?
Love St Agnes as a community, and I got to be very careful, obviously, living in Herrenporth. But I think the assumption was back then that we would come and live in St Agnes. As it was, there was another manse available, and we had 3 young boys, and it was just the right manse for us was in Herrenporth. But the community in St Agnes, and the multiplicity of community groups going on, the cooperation that goes on across the community between the churches. Yeah, great place.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, just a manse is like a vicarage.
A manse, yes, a vicarage, where a minister would live.
I've seen the word, and I have. No, somebody even told me that they'd started a lacrosse team last year. I mean,
Wow.
I went to the library when I first came down here and wanted to start a book group up. I thought I was being very trendy, going down here. And bless the lady of the library said, "Oh yeah, we'll sort it out for you, Payne. And we'll get you the books, and then you just do this." And Kay, her name was Kay, and I said, "You got any other book groups?" There's 9. Yes, don't bother, Kay. I'll join one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Find something else to do.
There's always something going on. The Women's Institute, the church. Every time I come into this pub, there's always a group of people here that I meet. And when we do the quizzes, we had one last night for the tennis people. So many want to come to these quizzes. Just gives me a little bit of money for that thing. That's
Ideal.
So, how have you found the ministry actually in St Agnes? Has it been different to anywhere else you've been? That's a difficult question now.
Well, it is, but I spent 11 years in Camborne, and Camborne is a very different place to St Agnes.
Yes,
obviously. But the history of certainly of the Methodist Church in St Agnes, from the 1860s through, there is a proud history, and in lots of ways, the chapel in St Agnes, certainly numbers-wise, punches above its weight, sort of, compared to the size of the community that they're drawing from, and a lot of community-focused people there.
It's a wonderful building, isn't it? I've been in a few times, as you know, from D-Day things. Not D-Day, the Armistice Day, in November, and I'm always amazed when it's like a parliament. You've got all the seats going around, you've got the tables, and
obviously, when it was built as a traditional gallery chapel. There was no hall below. That was pews, seating down there, big central pulpit. And then I think over the years, questions have been asked about, we really need more space. Where were the Sunday school meeting? Well, tiny rooms at the back. We need the more space. And eventually, I can't remember now, 55 years ago, possibly now, they put a floor in at gallery level.
right.
So then all the pews, everything came out downstairs. Hall, another
Is it you?
about 55 years. And then the worship space is upstairs at gallery level. So you've still got the horseshoe of what were the gallery pews, but then space in the middle for slightly more comfortable seating. And but it's a great venue. And when you get it full, when you get it full for a community event, for a big celebration, funeral, Christmas services, Christingle services, great.
It is a wonderful, and the Sims, the one in Mount Hawks, great as well. I always think I can imagine Romeo and Juliet being done in there. The balcony. Simon, I know very little about Methodism. I know we talked about and how what's similar to the CV and different to the CV. Could you run me through that?
Well, I mean, historically, Methodism has come out of the Church of England.
Yeah.
John and Charles Wesley were Anglican priests to their dying day. Saw the Anglican Church at the time as being fairly humdrum, kept in its own place, not really impacting the community in which it was placed. And out of what they were seeking to do, they were seeking to do a renewal movement within the life of the Church of England. And so, Wesley faced opposition. All sorts of people refused him to preach in their pulpits. So he started preaching in the open air once, encouraged by others. People responded to the gospel story, were put into little groups to meet together to work out what being Christian was all about. Midweek group, go to your parish church on Sunday. And that sort of held on, right, with a bit of tension until John and Charles Wesley passed away, and then really came the sort of the breakaway from Methodism to be its own denomination. The name Methodism was a nickname.
What does it mean?
Well, John and Charles were at college in Oxford. They started what became a holy club, if you like, and they just did everything methodically.
Oh, right, okay.
And with a method, and that it was a nickname from others, which they lived with.
So the main tenet is still the New Testament.
Main tenet, it's absolutely straight down the line, Christian denomination, all the standard creeds and that sort of stuff. I think the big differences really are organisationally. We don't have bishops that the Church of England do. Very much focus of being in community and working alongside. I mean, the Wesleys were talking about social holiness.
Yes.
And so this has holy living, but actually it's nothing about just me being pious on my own corner. It's about getting into the community, working with people, making a difference where you are.
That's what I've always seen in you, mate. To be honest, I've always seen you part of this community since I've been down here. And a lot of people I know go to the church. And I think it's great to see. As I'm not religious, but I think it's great to see.
And good cooperation between chapel and church. I mean, just last Sunday,
yes,
we had United service up at the chapel, and rip roaring sing we had. Really good time. We're decorating upstairs, so we're all down in the hall, which is a lot of wood and bare walls, and so it echoes anyway. So there were 60 plus of us down there, and it was a good time.
I sort of like the way it goes between the two for Remembrance Sunday. There's obviously the main sermon, the outside ceremony is up with you,
yes,
but then it does come down here. But the time when I read a poem out there, and with your permission, and it was about the war and that sort of thing. And the kids were just wonderful. Little racks, these kids.
Yeah,
the teacher at each end.
Yeah,
they knew exactly how to about you.
No, it's been a real that has been a real interesting experience. Unusual to have the Village War Memorial on Methodist Church ground.
Is it?
Very unusual, really. And I can't think where the nearest example would be. But obviously the Methodist Church had the land and there wasn't the space at the parish church. But that act of remembrance when the community really comes out, and particularly as we marked 100-year events from end of First World War, those sorts of things. And it's been, I think, something the community's really responded.
It was the 80th anniversary, I think, of VE Day. Yeah, it's incredible to think. I mean, I grew up with all war stuff around the house in Nottingham. My father was in the RAF. There were all sorts of his bits just lying there and staying there, and that's all gone. And then I think it's very important that we remember the stories. That
well, this is it, and I think when we did all that 100th anniversary, I just picked a couple of the names from the War Memorial and just do a bit of basic family history stuff. Again, with 80th anniversary, you get into a very few who were alive and served, certainly. And, finding out again who were these individuals, where do they live in the parish, and just painting a picture.
Well, their lives and all that. I mean, I remember my mother telling me that they used to go down the shelters in Nottingham, and she came back one day in the morning after they'd been bombed, Nottingham to a bit of a hammering the night before, and she looked out in the yard, the backyard of the toilets at the end, sort of thing, hanging washing it,
Yeah.
and there was a cooker just stood there in the yard, and she said it had a bit of a wonky leg, but nothing much. And she thought, where the hell's that come from? And she went out, pulled the bottom drawer, actually, was at the bottom drawer, you go and look in there, because she did. And it had come from a woman who lived in Bulwell, 4 miles away. Just bang. And, and she said, it's incredible. And those sort of stories, I think, need to be remembered.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my parents grew up in Liverpool. But
they are hammering Liverpool, didn't they?
Mum, the family moved to a different house on one day, and Dad goes back the following day, he goes back, and the place had been hit, and all the windows and the door had been blown out. They'd had a really, really lucky escape.
It's amazing.
And but we need to remember those sorts of things.
I think we do. I mean, especially as we've spoken about this. We won't get into today's politics because, but the world is changing again.
It is,
and I think we need to be aware as a country that we may be on our own, or with Europe or whatever. But it's quite controversial.
Don't sidetrack me on that one.
Use on bloody or we mustn't. You're moving on.
I am.
When are you going?
I am. I have my leaving service on Palm Sunday. I'm finishing at Easter. I do Easter Day at the chapel here in the morning. Do that service. Formal leaving service is the previous Sunday evening, Palm Sunday, 13th of April, and that'll be a gathering of the clans of the Methodist Church, because Methodist churches are gathered into a group of circuits, right? And there are 17 in our circuit, up from Newquay all the way down through Truro and down onto the Roseland even. So there'll be a great gathering there. Methodist ministers move on every now and again. Taking the principle from John Wesley, who got on his horse and rode to all sorts of different places, that sense of being itinerant and moving around. 14 years is quite a long time in terms of Methodist ministry.
Well, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I am moving. I'm going to live in Redruth. Pray for me. I go to live in Redruth. It's got the best architecture, within sight of Carn Bray, where we're going to live. And the circuit there is Camborne, Redruth and Hale. They've got Camborne and Redruth together in the same circuit.
Camborne and Redruth, people always, I was amazed when you come down here, when you come from the city, because they always tell you the city when you walk down and look up. Because that's where all the architecture is.
Yeah.
And I know walking through Redruth and Camborne, and the Cornish have this sometimes, they're fantastic. I mean, some of the houses in Camborne, absolutely stunning. And I do enjoy a bit of that.
So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a different role. Because where I am the superintendent, which is very, very important. And I like to get uniform. I like to believe that is. It basically means the buck stopped here. I had a term, although I'm responsible for everybody. And I'm going to be superintendent there as well. But I won't actually have an individual church to look after.
No.
And to be the minister of, which is an unusual setup. I'll be looking after the team, but it actually might allow me to get into the community more and just see what we might do there, where the needs are.
Well, good luck with that.
And how to respond.
Really mean, nice big luck. Right, you're an Everton fan.
I'm an Everton fan. Yeah, through thin and thin.
Thin as thick. And your family, were they all Everton supporters?
No, parents not really interested in football. I followed Everton because my nan followed Everton. She had 3 older brothers who were all Liverpool fans, and but no, I followed my nan. I remember after the Merseyside derby and inevitably having lost again, going to visit my uncle Bert, nan's brother, and you turn up and Auntie Marianne greets you at the door. It's my mother's aunt, my great aunt, and I don't know where Bert is. He's down the garden in the shed. Well, that's fine. So after half an hour, in comes Bert, and he's made me a blue rosette and he's tinged it on the outside with black for mourning having lost. I just sped the time. Well, that's something of the humour of the people. But yeah, Everton fan. Got up to Goodison for the first time in 30 years in January to see us limp past Peterborough in the FA Cup. So yeah,
I remember watching Nottingham Forest play Everton in '67 in the FA Cup, and
I would have been less than one.
yeah, and
To remind you how old you are.
I was with I was with my brother-in-law's father and him, and it went 1-0 Everton, 1-1, 2-1 Everton, 2-2. And Ian Story Moore, whose name you got to remember, who's for England player, and he got in the last minute, and he hit the ball, he hit the goal, he bounced up, hit the woodwork, he headed it, the goalie saved it, knocked it back, and he chested it in. And my brother-in-law's father, who was an Everton fan in front of him, with all these hats on, picked the hat up and went, yippee! It's my turn now, this open. We had great days.
Oh, great stuff. You play the keyboard? I'm a pianist. From the age of about 5, I've just never stopped playing, really. Used to be, still is at times, sort of therapy, really. Right, on a stressful day, I could just do with just going, and whether it's church music, modern worship song, whether it's just trying to play something that I've heard and play it by ear, and love that.
David Cllr said nearly exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And that it was soul food to him. He'd go back and just put something on and relax. And I'm very much the same. I feel like he needs to get back and what a day.
Yeah.
You put something on just to wash it out of you.
You need to do something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And find what works for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always something. I'm getting towards the end. I know you mentioned some of the music you're into. I was surprised that Kiss came up.
Well, yeah, I guess everybody does teenage rebellion their own way.
Yes.
Yes, I never really rebelled against my sort of faith upbringing. But yeah, my rebellion was it was very minor. Yeah, and I was into heavy metal as an older teenager. Rock music. Yeah, went saw Kiss and Blue Oyster Cult.
All right.
All sorts of interesting.
I'll get into some heavy stuff.
Great fun.
You give the air guitar when you got home and that was the other one?
Yeah, it was headbanging, which is
of course,
with the short length of the hair now. It's just the memory of going to a concert one night at school the next day and just feeling how heavy your head was.
Can you about so much? You'd have to be for now if you do it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally respectable now, of course, obviously.
Yes. Well, I don't. Yes. David, that's me done. Is there anything you want to ask me? Or
not at all. That's all right. I'm Simon, but don't you can call me anything you like. What do I call you? David.
Oh, sorry. I do beg you, but I wouldn't put that bit. TV buds.
No, not a problem at all. Not a problem. Good to talk.
Yeah, anything you want to ask me or talk about?
No. And wish you all the best for forthcoming re-election.
Thank you.
Because we're not getting into any political stuff with other side of the pond. It's a good job that you do, committing to the community, and people appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for coming. Nice to talk to you.
All the best, man.
Cheers.
And all the best in your next job, Redruth.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.